What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the Wave Clan channel. Today, obviously, is for a very niche audience. So being that Chris Brown is one of my favorite artists, I decided to take the liberty of ranking all of his songs, all of his relevant songs. So the criteria of songs that I've chosen to rank was that one, it had to be his songs. It couldn't be a feature. Two, it has to have a music video. And three, if it didn't have a music video, it had to have been either popular or important to his career. And then obviously I snuck in some personal favorites. But so my criteria, masterpiece. So masterpiece is like, it's relative to the artist, and I'll probably do more artists in the future, but masterpiece would be like a masterpiece for a Chris Brown song. So like if we're gonna compare like a masterpiece Chris Brown song to like a Michael Jackson song, if I had this same criteria for a Michael Jackson song, which is what I'm gonna do next, I think that a masterpiece Chris Brown song would be like an A tier Michael Jackson song. So it's not to suggest that it's a masterpiece in general. I think it would be a masterpiece for a Chris Brown song. He's a hit maker. It's not like he doesn't make great music, but you know, it's obviously not like an all-time masterpiece. Like a masterpiece Chris Brown song wouldn't be like Thriller, Bohemian Rhapsody, songs of that stature. So just wanted to clarify that. And then obviously I'm going to be taking a little bit of personal bias, or the personal bias, how much I enjoy each song out of the equation. I'm going to try to do it objectively, but I am of no means a music critic, musician. I'm just someone who has listened to pretty much all these songs at least over 10 times. So let's get into it. So we're going to be doing it by album or project, and it's in sequential order. So first one we have is Poppin'. I'm going to put it A tier. I think it's a cool song. Not too much to it. The vocals aren't too impressive, but I think it's pretty catchy. I think that a wide variety of people would enjoy that song. So I'm going to put it at A tier. Say Goodbye is going to be S tier. The singing is stand out. I won't say it's like immaculate, but it's fairly stand out. It's like a young love breakup song pretty much, and that creates lyrics that are actually meaningful. So definitely gonna put it S tier. And I'm gonna try to be brief with these because there are a lot to get through, and I don't want to sit here for 2 hours like when I did the Geometry Dash music video. But anyways, Run It, I'm gonna also put it A tier. It's basically the same thing as Poppin'. The lyrics weren't too stand out. The singing wasn't too stand out, but I think it obviously appeals to a wide variety of people, given that it was literally the #1 song around the time when it came out in America. So the #1 song in America on the billboards. So yeah, it's one of his 2 #1 songs. Then Yo, Excuse Me Miss, I don't know whether I'm going to put it at A or S. I'm going to give it S for now because I think it's a little bit more iconic than a lot of his other songs. When you think of young Chris Brown, you think of Yo, Excuse Me Miss, this song. Very catchy. Is that my dog barking? He's probably barking at something out the window. But yeah, definitely the hook is very catchy. Has aged very well. You can still listen to it now. Give me that, and specifically the Lil Wayne remix. Alright, I'm gonna give it A tier. I don't think the lyrics are too great. It definitely fits how he used to do songs way back when. Kind of the young, ambitious, I wouldn't say playboy just yet, but like it gives off the vibe of like a young man that's just now trying to explore his way around women and getting women. But yeah, I think this song kind of epitomizes that. Lil Wayne did a pretty good job, so I'm gonna give it A tier. Also, the beat is pretty memorable. So now we're getting into the Xclusive album, one of his best albums. It's either this or Chris Brown, which would be his best albums. But very strong song. Take You Down, I'm gonna give it S tier because it's a sex song with no swear words, just straight implications. And you guys can educate me. Maybe there's artists in other genres that do this, but I think being in the R&B/hip-hop R&B genre, and in order to make like a sex song with a wide appeal without any sort of expletives, and it's not even that suggestive either. I think that's pretty impressive. The beat and the song or the lyrics match very good. There's a lot of chemistry between the beat and the lyrics, or the instrumental. I shouldn't just say the beat. Yeah, and it's definitely stood the test of time. I think it's a very strong song. Kiss Kiss, which is his other number one song, I'm gonna give it A tier. I don't think that it's like immaculate, but I do think it's a very strong song. And I should probably at this point in time go over the criteria for what each of these means. So masterpiece is obviously like almost perfect. Yeah, I said S is extremely strong. A would be great. B would be above average. C would be decent slash average. D is below average slash poor, and F is just trash. Okay, so that's the criteria, and I'll keep that at the side of the screen, or on the side of the screen rather. But yeah, Kiss Kiss. So when I listen to the song, it takes me back to like the 2008, 09 sort of time frame. Even though I was really young, it's like the beat and the melody, the I wouldn't say singing, but just like the hook. I mean, it kind of perfectly. It's kind of nostalgic for me, and I think it perfectly encapsulates, you know, my memory of that time frame better than most other songs do. But taking that aside, I think that the use of the auto tune, I think T-Pain, Chris Brown had really good chemistry on the song. The auto tune actually sounded really good. The auto tune singing was kind of experimental for Chris Brown. It was just very strong. But I just don't think I think that they're obviously better songs. I think that there are two tiers of Chris Brown songs above Kiss Kiss. But that was his second number one hit, and his last. Unfortunately, I think a lot of these other songs deserve number one. But With You would be one of those songs. With You is a masterpiece. The lyrics are meaningful. Just the amount of romance, young romance that was displayed with the song. It's kind of like a hand wave kind of song, kind of like Halo, from Beyonce, kind of like that vibe. Yeah, With You is just a very, very strong song. It's one of Chris Brown's best songs, in my opinion, objectively. Forever is also going to be a masterpiece. I personally think it's overplayed. That aside, I think the vocal, if you listen just the acapella, no instrumental, the vocal layering, the audio engineer did a phenomenal job. And I think that his background vocals were also pretty immaculate, and it just blended with the main vocals very well. And I mean, this song is it's used in so many different settings, you know what I mean? Like, you can dance to it. It was used in I believe The Office, the TV show The Office. And yeah, it's just a very iconic Chris Brown song. The beat goes really hard, kind of the electronic sort of beat, if you will. I mean, the cover art is like him holding large wires with like a Lamborghini. So I think it was kind of like a electronic. That's where I got the electronic thing from. But yeah, definitely another masterpiece. Wall to Wall, I'm gonna give this A tier next to. I think if you listen to Wall to Wall, it would be of the same quality of Give Me That, Run It, Kiss Kiss. The beat was also good in a similar sense to Kiss Kiss. Kind of reminds me of that time frame. And I think just the beat and the singing, not the singing in terms of like the singing ability, but the notes that he was hitting. Like, I think that it blended really well with that particular beat. So this Christmas, I'm gonna give it S. I'm not gonna give it masterpiece. When you think of this Christmas, you think of the Chris Brown version. Most of the time, most people do, because I think his performance was very outstanding for this Christmas. I think it's one of his best singing performances. Actually, maybe not, but I mean, it's well before he used auto-tune. You really get to hear how authentic his voice was. Someone did I think Jay Diggs did a 5 or 7 levels of singing. I personally think Chris Brown is a level 4 singer, But he put Chris Brown at level 5. And if you want to make the argument that Chris Brown is a level 5 singer, you would definitely look towards This Christmas. But yeah, the only reason why I'm not going to put it masterpiece is because it's a tried and true, like it's not his song. It's like a rendition. You know what I mean? So then we have Superhuman. That's going to be another masterpiece. Him and Carrie Hilson's chemistry really shined through with this track. Very, very strong. Again, it's authentic singing. The lyrics were meaningful. Definitely another masterpiece. I Can Transform Ya. This is another one I'm going to put, or excuse me, this is the first one I'm going to put in B tier. I Can Transform Ya. I remember distinctly when the song came out and I was watching MTV because I was a fan of Transformers as a little kid. And my parents were in the room. MTV was on, like I just mentioned. And this song came on. And then my mom was like, look, they're turning into Transformers. They're turning into Transformers. Isn't that so cool? And that was just a fond memory I had when this song came on. But yeah, I think Lil Wayne does a decent job. Some of his lyrics were kind of corny, but it's whatever. Swizz Beatz did an amazing job on the beat. I think Chris Brown's lyrics were catchy, but I wouldn't put this song in the same tier as his other songs. All the other songs that we've listed, I think, are better songs than I Can Transform Ya. I think that it gets kind of redundant after the second half. I think that after the first hook, it was like, you got it, bags, you got it. I think there was no instrumental in the background, and I think that was cool. And then the second time they repeated it, and there was instrumental, and then at that point, it was kind of like, eh. But yeah, Crawl, I'm gonna give D tier. It gives you the illusion that it's trying to be an impactful song when it's really just not. I couldn't really get into it. I mean, it's very formulaic. It sounds like a song that you would hear on the radio. No offense, but it sounds like popular Caucasian song. But I just don't think that it made much sense. I think it was just like a desperate attempt at trying to sort of get into the limelight and to fix people's perception of him, because this was the album that came out after his Rihanna incident. So I think that definitely took a toll on the quality of that album in particular, which is why I think it's his worst album, and it's why I only included 2 songs out of that album, because all the songs, or most of the songs, were just like not that good. Next we have Deuces. I'll put this at B tier. Very popular breakup song. This is also the album when Chris Brown started swearing, and now he's trying to adopt sort of a playboy or sex symbol kind of persona. Deuces kind of resonated with that and with the image that he was trying to portray. If you strip it down, it's kind of just a generic breakup song. Not bad, not particularly great either. No BS. Do I put it A tier? So, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Deuces in C. Do I put No BS? Okay, yeah, I don't think No BS, No Bullshit is on the same level as like a Wall to Wall, a Kiss Kiss, a Gimme That. I do think it is one step below. So yeah, I think that makes sense. And then, but I do think it's also a step above Deuces. The hook was really good. It's a really good sex song. It's a song that you would play before, things heat up. It's a good song to play while you're actually doing something with someone else. And I think that's what they were going for. And yeah, but in terms of a song, there's not too much depth there. Yeah, 3 times. I'll give this a C tier. Kind of the same thing with Crawl, but I think it had a little bit more cultural significance. I still hear it in clubs today, but I think Chris Brown, I remember a critic said that the album sounded desperate, and I don't think that the album sounded desperate. I think Fame was a really good album. I think, yeah, 3 times kind of sounded desperate, but yeah, very much an average song. Look at Me Now. That's going to be our 4th masterpiece. Look at Me Now. Even though there wasn't any singing, I think that it showed Chris Brown's versatility in terms of his rapping ability. The swagger on that song was also next to none. And then you had Busta Rhymes that just came in and just destroyed everything. Oh my gosh. Gave us one of the most one of his most memorable performances on any feature that he's done. I mean, you had like the Busta Rhymes challenge based on his part in this song. And then you had peak Lil Wayne, and then he just went last, and he also gave us some memorable bars. She Ain't You, I'm gonna put this at B tier because obviously it's just a rendition of Human Nature by Michael Jackson. It's just a worse version of Human Nature by Michael Jackson. And I think that the lyrics were kind of fucked up. It's like it makes you feel bad for singing the song. But yeah, I'm gonna put that at B tier. Beautiful People is kind of average. There isn't much to it. It's just him vocalizing. Not much to it. It's just whoa, whoa, don't you know, and then the beat kind of carries. And then you just have some other meaningless lyrics. Live your life, live your life. Like, all right, a very average song, just like yeah, 3 times. Next to You, where do I put this, dude? For now, I'm gonna put it at S tier. I did another tier list, and I did put it at masterpiece, but I think that, Justin Bieber's chemistry along with Chris Brown's chemistry really shined here. And yeah, I think a lot of people forget about this song, but the singing on both parts were pretty good. It was a pretty good duet. But yeah, if I had No Air on here, if it weren't a Jordan Sparks song, that's what I would put at masterpiece instead of Next to You. There was also a part, I think, before the final hook where there's kind of like a weird break or a weird pause, and I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. But yeah, definitely S tier song, definitely a good song. Wet the Bed, I'm gonna put this A tier. This is definitely a level above these. I would put this at the same tier as these other songs for sure. I think it's a pretty good sex song. There's kind of like 2 memorable hooks. There's the I don't want to, and then there's like the yeah, girl, you heard what I said. I'm gonna make you wet the bed. And then yeah, so you're basically getting 2 hooks in one, and I think that it's that creativity that kind of elevates this song up a little bit. And then Ludacris came in, did a pretty good job, and then you had Seven Streeter, I believe that's how you pronounce her name or say her name. You had her kind of vocalizing like moans, but it was kind of funny to someone who doesn't listen to that song regularly. But I did think that kind of added to the song, and I think that it was kind of created. There's an element of creativity there, so definitely A tier. I don't think it's on the level of these songs. They're just like objectively better songs in my opinion, which doesn't really make sense because I said objectively, but they just sound like higher quality songs. But this is definitely an A tier song. Strip, I'm gonna put it at, I think it's a little bit above average. You have a lot of memorable lyrics, like if you ain't freaking, we ain't speaking. You think I'm playing? No, I'm not. Or like, then back it up, beep beep, like a trucker. I can't forget about your face. There's a lot of like memorable lyrics there, and then obviously the actual hook was pretty good, but other than that, it wasn't too complex of a song. The singing was okay. K Mac's part was okay also. So yeah, I'm gonna put it B tier. Turn up the music. I'll put this in S tier. I like how it builds up, just in terms of how the song starts off. It builds up. It kind of has that. It's not a hook, but it gives a memorable. It's called something. The section of the song. It's not like the pre-chorus. I don't know what it is. There is a name for what I'm talking about. But if you sexy and you know it, put your hands up in the air. Then it builds up. Then turn up the music. And then the drop, as we call it in Geometry Dash terms. Well, you can just say, I guess, the main hook or the main point of the part of the song was pretty strong. So yeah, definitely think all those elements together makes this a very strong song. And then the whole album kind of took on an electronic feel, sort of. The instruments were definitely different. Think of the background music to Forever, but a little bit more aggressive and party-like. That's kind of the feel of this album. And I think that this song does it the best. I think that this song utilizes the feel of the album the best. Don't Judge Me. A lot of people like this song. It's not my favorite. It describes like relationship problems, but then it kind of walks back on it and it's like, don't judge me, I won't judge you. If you love me, let it be beautiful. I think it's like fake deep. That's kind of the that's kind of the vibes I'm getting. There is some good singing, particularly towards the end. But overall, I think that I wouldn't put it. Some people will definitely have this A. Some people might even have this S. I'm going to put it at B. Till I Die. Okay, I like the sound of it. I think Big Sean does an okay part. Or, yeah, he does an okay job during his part. Wiz Khalifa was kind of. Nah. I think it's just an average song overall. I think that wasn't really much singing. Kind of the same formula as Look at Me Now, but way worse to where there's no singing. It's just like rapping, and then you have two other features, two other rappers that are on with you. But I mean, there is some enjoyment to be had with the song. It's not of low quality. I just don't think it's that strong at all. Sweet Love. I'm gonna put this B tier. I love the hook, but there's just not too much going on before and after the hook, especially because the hook is how the song starts off. And I think that that in itself is pretty strong, but then the low parts are just like the in-between parts between each hook. Fine China, I think this might be our last Masterpiece song, spoiler alert. Maybe, I don't know. I'm looking at all these other ones, but Fine China was another one of Chris Brown's extremely strong songs. Kind of has that Michael Jackson sort of feel to it. It sounds like a Michael Jackson song if Michael Jackson were still alive today, honestly. That's kind of what it sounds like. Very, very strong. The lyrics weren't too impactful, but I mean, or meaningful, but it was definitely more meaningful than a lot of the other lyrics, just in songs in general, especially Chris Brown songs. And at this point, this came out in 2014, so I don't think that he was trying to prove himself to the public anymore, especially after his Rihanna incident. Fame was definitely that point. That was the, all right, let me lock in kind of point. And then Fortune, it's kind of like, okay, I think I'm getting in everybody's good graces, but now I think he's very confident in himself musically and as an artist. And I think that it shows throughout this album. I think that if Chris Brown were looking at all of his albums, I think that he would think X is his best album. Maybe, I don't know. But it's the album that has his most popular songs. I'll definitely say that. And yeah, kind of like Xclusive, there are a bunch of strong songs in this album. The strongest of which, in my opinion, is definitely Fine China. It's just an extremely charming song. Stood the test of time. You don't even have to be a Chris Brown fan to really enjoy this song. Like, my friends played this, and I was like, nigga, what the fuck do you know about this song, bro? And he was like, what do you mean, what do I know about this? I was like, all right, my fault. I wasn't aware of your gangster. My bad. Autumn Leaves is going to be S tier. I actually don't really enjoy Kendrick's performance on this song. There's an unreleased song that this sounds like, Who Dis. I think that this is just like a much better version of Who Dis. The singing was pretty good. The lyrics were, in the same sense of Fine China, kind of meaningful, but not really, not like a With You sort of meaningful or superhuman meaningful. Definitely strong song. Kendrick Lamar, he has a good rap presence on there in terms of just lyrically. He lyrically, his part was really good. I don't think that the tone that he was going for fits in with this song in particular, because this was like Good Kid, Mad City Kendrick Lamar, you know. So he does that thing where he makes his voice intentionally robotic and then goes through different characters, and I think that's good when you're on your own tracks and you know creatively how you want to express yourself. But I don't think it translated that well to Autumn Leaves. But overall, the song is still pretty strong. Don't Think They Know with the Aaliyah feature, I'm gonna say B. I don't really enjoy Chris Brown's performance on this song, but I don't want to say that it's average because, I mean, you literally have Aaliyah on there. It does sound like an Aaliyah song if she were still alive to record something. They don't know about us. It's like, what are we really talking? This is another like fake deep song to me. Love More, same thing. I don't want to say it's average. It does have a little bit more personality than something like Yeah 3 Times or I don't even say Beautiful People has personality. It's just really basic and formulaic. Yeah, Three Times has almost no personality. This is a step above. Yeah, Three Times, and then you have Nicki Minaj on the track. But at the end of the day, it's kind of formulaic. Not that much creatively. So I'm gonna give it a B tier. Loyal. Everybody's gonna get mad at me. Same thing as Love More. This is one of Chris Brown's most popular song. When it came out, it dominated the radio. All you heard, just in general, like the amount of Chris Brown said these hoes ain't loyal, like Lil Uzi Vert. You know, this song definitely had a bit of a ripple effect through the industry. The music video was pretty awesome. I mean, he like came out of probation for 2 days. Not saying like the reason that he was in probation to begin with was good. We're not glorifying that, but to come out of probation and you have like very limited time, and then you record a whole music video with a whole dance routine. You had a whole bunch of cameos like Ty Dolla $ign, Usher, Trey Songz was in that video. You know, it was definitely like a cultural moment, one of his most iconic songs. But in terms of a song in itself, it's just like, oh, girls will cheat on you. Girls might leave you for someone who's more attractive or someone who has more money or whatever. And it's just like, there's not a lot of depth to it. You know what I mean? I can make a broke bitch rich, but I don't fuck with broke bitches. Like, it's definitely like a fuckboy song that resonated with a lot of people. But yeah, unlike Loyal, New Flame is a very strong song. I'm going to put this S tier. Rick Ross's part was kind of like, aesthetically, it was good. In terms of what he was saying, nonsense. But Usher and Chris Brown did an amazing job on this song. Singing performances, very, very strong. Yeah, not much more else to say. The beat is pretty recognizable as well. X, I'm gonna give this an A tier. Kind of a house music kind of vibe, like a dubstep kind of vibe. So, you know, I appreciate that, but just that kind of limits its appeal to everybody, I suppose. I still think it's a pretty strong song. I like the singing performance. The same thing with Stereotype. I'm gonna also give this an A. I think they're similar in the respect that if you put effort into something, it doesn't positively correlate to a good result, but it correlates to a good result, right? And I think that both of these songs exemplify that, because Chris Brown put like a lot of emphasis into his singing in both of these songs, and they didn't make for the best songs, but they definitely made for stronger songs. You could hear the emotion in his voice, especially with Stereotype. It's a song that resonated with me mainly because of when I heard it and what I was going through when I first heard the song. Was basically like one-on-one with what he was talking about. But just outside of that, what he's talking about and the amount of emotion he's conveying that with, it makes it more impactful. And there's like yelling in the background, and you could attribute that to so many different things, like, oh, like I'm heartbroken, or this person did this to me. I thought you were different. You're just like everybody else, which is kind of surface level, but again, it's sort of like there's an element of storytelling just because of the effort in which he is singing with, you know? So I definitely think that these are strong songs, but I wouldn't say that these are necessarily on the same level as these songs up here. Now we have the Fuckboy album, Fan of a Fan. This is like peak fuckboyness. Like the I can take your girl, you're not going to do anything about it kind of, I can get any girl I want. That's basically what all of these songs were, basically. So this is Ayo. You guys are going to get mad at me. I think Ayo is a pretty average song, especially with Tyga's performance. Tyga isn't really the best rapper out there. Obviously, it's similar to Loyal in the same sense that it created ripples throughout the industry, and it's an iconic song, but I just don't think that overall it's that strong of a song. I think that if this song didn't do as well as it did, I don't think anybody would say like, oh yeah, Ayo is a super good song, because it's just not. Kind of formulaic, it kind of mixes it up in terms of its sound, like I can spot your bitch from a mile away. Valentine and that pussy, it's a holiday. And then they like they go bar for bar. Tyga says something about Dr. Dre after that. It's just like, you know, it doesn't give you anything that hasn't been done before. Bitches and Marijuana, our second D tier song. Bitches and Marijuana, first of all, the potential of that song was butchered by Schoolboy Q. Schoolboy Q did an abysmal job with his feature. I don't even know why niggas were like, oh yeah, bro, Schoolboy, yeah, that shit sounded hard, bro. Yeah, we're for sure gonna leave that on the track. I don't know why you would do that, but the lyrics are very basic. Beat wasn't anything. Honestly, there's like three songs that to where the beat in this album, there's like three different songs where the beat sounds almost verbatim the same. There's Bitches and Marijuana. She Going Up sounds almost identical. I think I would say Hey Yo, where you have the, maybe not, maybe it's just those two. I don't know, but those sound extremely similar. So yeah, the beat's not really doing it for me. It's not anything stand out. And the lyrics weren't anything great either from anybody. Neither was the singing from Chris Brown. It's just kind of like a song that exists. Remember Me? So this is, you know those Funkmaster Flex freestyles that aren't really freestyles. It's just like, it's pre-written, but it's a freestyle in the sense that you're remembering it off the top of your head. He turned this into an actual song. Now, whether the song existed before the freestyle or the freestyle existed before the song, I don't know, but this was when Chris Brown freestyled to, I think it was Studio by School. It was a Schoolboy Q song. So yeah, I think it was Studio. But yeah, I'll give it a B tier. I think that there's some good singing moments, particularly towards the end from Chris Brown. I think that the chemistry between the beat and what was being said, the rapping, I would say, and then how it goes into the singing of the hook, you know, pretty decent. I give it like a little bit above average because it has some personality there. Girl You Loud, is that what it is? Yeah, it's Girl You Loud. All right. I'm gonna give it a C tier. I think the most standout part is the hook. I'm about to get up on that ass right now. I'm telling you, you don't want to hear me sing, so I'm gonna try to limit that. But yeah, I think that's kind of the only standout part of the song. And then other than that, I don't think Tyga really pulled through. I think Chris Brown's part was worse in particular. It just sounded like, I don't know, like a bunch of crying. So yeah, I'm gonna put this C tier with its personality, keeping it from being in D tier, which is like Remember Me. That personality kind of bumped it into above average in a similar sense. So, Real One, is that Real One? Yeah, with Boosie Badass. I'll give it B tier. I like this song. It has its own personality. Singing wasn't bad. Boosie's part wasn't too bad. Tyga's part, he just shows up once in the beginning, and honestly, that's how it needed to be. Tyga is not it, bro. She Going Up. This is the epitome of what I was talking about. The I can take your girl and you're not gonna do anything about it. This is like a D tier song. Lyrics were kind of like cocky, kind of hard. Not hard to resonate, but it's like it makes you feel like an asshole by rapping it. I'm with her fucking up the sheets now. If your nigga bring his ass over here, he getting beat down. Nigga, don't act like we boys. I bought a strap from that bullet wound gonna kill lawyer. Why you mad? I got your girl going up. She going up right now. It's okay. I mean, like, it's okay at best, and then I think it kind of slows down. She keeps screaming loud. She gonna call her po-po or like some shit. Doing shit up her nose. She in love with the cocoa. Like, I think that part was just kind of ass. So I'm gonna put it below average. What's this? It's Yo Shit. Okay, this is the one with Wale. I'll put this in B tier. So now we have 2 rows in B tier. Yeah, I mean, it's Yo Shit. It was alright. I think Tyga did the best in this song. The beat was really stand out. I think the beat really carried this song. Wale did a pretty good job. I think this is a comfortable B tier. Banjo, I like this song, but it slows down significantly after Tyga's part. Especially like Chris Brown didn't need another part. He didn't need another section after Tyga's part, after his first section. For what it was, I mean, it's kind of like pre-game music, like before you go out to the club kind of music. We're going to stop right now. We're about halfway through, and I have to hop on a game with my boy, so I'll catch you guys probably a little bit later tonight. Alright, so picking up where we left off, this is After the Party, which is actually a mixtape and not an album. You gotta like really be a Chris Brown fan to listen to these songs or have listened to these songs, because none of them are mainstream, but if you're interested, I would definitely check them out. Red Lights. So like I think this album was really strong in terms of singing performance. Do I put it A or B tier? I think that it's better than most of these songs in B tier, so I don't know if I'm gonna rank them within the ranks, each individual song within the ranks. Maybe we will after the fact, after the end, but for now I'm gonna give it a B tier. Freaky Shit, my current favorite song, so I have to keep the bias out of it. Very catchy. I mean, obviously, I can't just say that because that's a little biased, but kind of formulaic, but there's enough sort of personality in it that makes it stand out. There's some really good background vocals that also brings the song to life a little bit, especially towards the second hook. And I think the electronic sort of talking in the beginning, like it kind of didn't make sense in the beginning to me. So when I remember when I very first listened to the song, I was like, what is happening? And then I listened to the song, and then it repeats that sort of electronic singing towards the end of the song, and I'm like, bro, that is a perfect send off. I'm actually gonna put it A tier. Honestly, I think it's a bit better than what we have here in B tier. I mean, the lyrics and the premise of the song is extremely basic, but I think there's the right amount of personality and creativity with that song. The Breakup, good singing. I think as a song, I'll put this in A tier also. I feel kind of disingenuous by putting it in B tier. I'm not going to say it's fake deep. I do think that the lyrics are meaningful. Some pretty above average singing performance from Chris Brown. So, Come Home Tonight. I mean, you can say the same thing about Come Home Tonight. In terms of it being above average. Yeah, I mean, I'll put that in A tier also. I don't think that it's awfully strong. Low A tier is probably where I would put it. A little bit above average in terms of a Chris Brown standard of singing. A little bit above average compared to what he usually does. I do think that it gets a little bit repetitive. Again, it just has that extra bit of personality. Beat It Up, I'm actually going to put in S tier. It's not my favorite song in the album, but I do think it's the strongest. The singing performance, one of Chris Brown's best singing performances. I would highly recommend you give it a listen. I mean, he just like went crazy towards the end and just started hitting all sorts of high notes, and I'm like, damn, I pulled that shit out the bag. It kind of has, like obviously Beat It Up, like an undertone of sex, but I think that it's not too in your face. I think it's kind of just describing a situational relationship. So yeah, the lyrics aren't anything to write home about, but I just think that the singing kind of carries the song. I think that the beat and how the beat plays out, it syncs well with the singing. So like I kind of say with some of these other songs, the singing and the beat is very synergistic, has a lot of chemistry. Then the background vocals are really strong. So yeah, I think S tier, actually, unironically. Just so you know, I'm gonna put it B tier. This song is kind of like a vibey sort of song. It reminds me, at least, of like being really high when I'm at a club, and like everybody else at the spot or the party or wherever is like also high. That's kind of the vibes that it gives off. But yeah, in terms of a song, it's like, just like a moody kind of vibe sort of song. Not bad. Liquor, I'm gonna put this in. What do I say? It's either A or S tier. I'm gonna put it A tier. I think next to Kiss Kiss, Wall to Wall, give me that. I think that makes a little bit of sense. This also has a strip cameo, which I thought was cool. Definitely better than Drake's Find Your Love cameo in Controlla. This album actually, royalty got overlooked. I think that as a collective album it wasn't that strong, but there were a lot of individual gems within this album, and mainly, I mean, this was 2015, so Hello by Adele came out. It's like a whole bunch of other stuff like Justin Bieber. It was definitely a lot to compete with. So this album definitely got overlooked a bit. But Liquor was one of those songs that kind of stood out from the rest. The premise is kind of like, whoa. But being able to spin it into a positive, I guess, sort of catchy, vibey song. You know, it's like he's literally talking about being drugged and potentially getting taken advantage of. But yeah, I think that you're able to turn that theme into something that's actually enjoyable on the ears. Was pretty good. Like the beat did a very good job of making you feel sort of drunk or under the influence of something. Kind of feels like you're underwater. But yeah, I think that this is a strong A tier song. Fine by Me. I'm gonna put this at C tier. It's kind of just okay. So this album is sort of like, again, no offense to anybody. It's like Caucasian instrumentals with nigga lyrics. That's how I would describe a lot of these songs. Fine by Me is kind of one of them. It leans more towards the Caucasian people music, kind of the pop sort of music. It kind of sounds like like J.C. Penney's or like clothing store music. I do think there's some redeeming qualities of the song. I think that you know how it goes is kind of formulaic. You know, I think it was designed to be like a pop hit. It doesn't really sound R&B, but I think the background vocals that are added in between each time the hook repeats itself from the second and third time the background vocals get stronger. The first time there aren't any. The second time you'll hear it a little bit, and the third time they get pretty strong. So I like that sort of mix up. So yeah, I mean, but very formulaic at the end of the day. So that criteria is what's keeping it from being in D tier. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Zero. I'd give it a high B tier. We'll rank these within each rank after we're finished with the individual placements. But I think Zero is a B tier song. The singing wasn't anything stand out. The lyrics are kind of like, it's kind of like Loyal. It's kind of like the equivalent of Loyal, except there aren't any features, pretty much. Obviously, a different premise, slightly different premise, but I think that it's kind of on the same level as a Loyal or even a Love More. Back to Sleep. This is also either A or S tier. The singing performance is above average. Okay, I'll give it S tier next to Beat It Up. I think that makes a little bit of sense. Kind of seemed genuine instead of talking about, you know, like fuckboy things, such as in like Fan of the Fam album. It's kind of more serious, like a serious actual relationship kind of undertone. So I think it's more digestible to a lot more people, but it still has that, you know, like that I'm that nigga feel to it. Especially when you watch the music video. That shit was low-key crazy. It was like the No Bullshit music video in full color. Okay, Wrist. I like Wrist, but I'm gonna put it at B tier. I think that it's a good showcase of talent in terms of I can kind of like mesh hip hop and R&B together and kind of make like a sing-songy kind of rap feel, but it's not corny like that. Look how I just described it sounds corny. It's kind of like a head bop, it's kind of hard to it. It's definitely like a song, but it's kind of like a okay. But other than that, you know, there's not really much singing. Lyrics aren't anything to write home about, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. Anyways, I'll give this A tier. I mean, there's not. Do I give it A tier or do I give it a high B tier? Okay, I don't think the lyrics are anything crazy, and I also don't think that the singing is anything crazy. The beat kind of carries in certain sections, especially towards like the middle and when we're getting towards the end. A little more. It was a tribute to his daughter. I understand that. The singing was okay. I'll give it A tier. It's a tribute to his newly born daughter. I don't think it's like a terribly strong song, but I don't know. It's genuine. So Picture Me Rolling. This is gonna be C tier. Kind of felt out of place. Kind of felt experimental. Fun fact: ASAP Rocky was in the music video to this, which I find kind of hilarious, given how things ended up with Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. But yeah, picture me rolling. I mean, nothing to write home about. It's kind of like I don't even know how you would describe it. It's not even like a party song. It might be like a pre-game song, maybe. So now we have Nights in Tarzana, which is another mixtape. And again, these are a lot of there are a lot of gems in this mixtape. So Crisscross, you guys probably heard that in the Party music video. It's the song that plays right before Party starts playing in that video, and they start dancing to it, and then the song just cuts off right before the drop. This is a really good song, actually. I'm gonna put it at A tier. I think that it's very catchy, very vibey. The features were okay. I don't think that the features brought down the song. I also don't think that the features elevated the song. But yeah, or okay, would I give this an A tier though, or would I give this a? Yeah, no, I'm gonna give this like a high B tier. I'll give it a high B tier. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, that was just a little bit of personal bias because I do like the song. Whipping is like a 7-minute song. I don't want to say it's average, but it's only slightly above average. It's like a 7-minute song. Not everybody sounds to par. Quavo was actually in this song. I think that his part was like, whatever. There's some other people in the song, and then Chris Brown's part at the end wasn't anything crazy either. I actually think that some other people had better parts than Chris Brown's part, especially because he tried to sound UK, like he was from the UK. But like the very beginning of the song, like that I pull up in a Wraith, hit the plug on the way, that was kind of swaggy. Shut Down? Is that Shut Down? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give it B tier. Shut Down sounds like it needs more emphasis. Like it I don't know, it sounds unfinished. It sounds like there's a hit song there, but just like the drop is kind of quiet. I don't know, it doesn't have that oomph that you would think it has. Like it sounds like it's supposed to have that sort of extra pull, but it just doesn't. And then some of the features were like, whatever kind of features. I think it kind of held back the potential of the song. Faded to Sade. I'll give this an A tier. Very good singing. Very good duet. Whoever was featured on the song, it was her song first, and then they made the exact same song, on a different beat, and then this was the Faded to Sade. But yeah, very good singing on both parts. And yeah, I think it's a relatively strong piece of music. Side piece, I'll also give this an A tier, probably low A tier. The premise of the song, I mean, it's not anything deep. It's kind of self-explanatory. Like, damn, I didn't know that I could be a side piece, and here I am. I feel like as a man, you don't necessarily think that could happen to you. You kind of think that happens to women more often than not, but I don't know. As a man, I kind of resonated with it a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I think that the singing was good. The beat is kind of good. There's some personality. There's some uniqueness to the song. Again, not anything too crazy. I'd give it a low A tier. This is Eileen. Okay, this has to be in D tier, and I'm so mad. It was Chris Brown trying to rap, but Chris Brown sounded really good, and he comes on first, and his bars were hitting. Like, that shit was hard. They're very vibey, very catchy. And then whoever his two features were just like ruined the fucking song, and it's so disappointing. It was so disappointing. So as a song, it's like literally like once Chris Brown's part is over, you want to turn off the song. That's how bad it was. So yeah, definitely a D tier. Partying Next Door. I'll give this a B tier. I don't think his runtime on the song, Huda Baby's runtime on the song, was, well, first of all, I don't even think he did a bad job. And his runtime on the song wasn't enough for it to be knocked down into the average. So I do think that it's above average, like slightly above average, hence why it's in B tier. There's also some very good singing after Huda Baby's part. The background is like I can't even begin to imitate it, but Chris Brown does like a Like I had to whistle it, but like hits a couple of high notes, and I think that really added to the hook when it was played for the second time. After that, it kind of gets a little stale. So yeah, a little bit above average. It has its own personality there. Socialize. I'll also give this B tier. I just think that cumulatively, it's not the best or strongest piece of work, but it's definitely catchy. It's definitely enjoyable. There's definitely a range of people who would enjoy that song. Substance. Okay, the beat is unique. Chris Brown comes in at the end, and he by far has the best part. I don't want to say that anybody did a bad job, but I think it's kind of like socialized in the sense to where just cumulatively it's not the best piece of music, but there is a subset of people who would enjoy that song. I think that the song has its own personality, enough of a personality to be placed above C tier. So Heartbreak on a Full Moon. So Grass Ain't Greener. People would probably want me to put this in A tier. I think I'm just gonna settle with B tier. Singing's not all that great. Lyrics were, I mean, kind of basic. When you think of Grass Ain't Greener, it's basically what you would already think Chris Brown would say in a song titled Grass Ain't Greener. He basically says, the song doesn't do anything novel. Very catchy, very vibey. It's not a bad piece of music at all, but I don't think it's particularly strong either. Party, on the other hand, used to be my favorite song when it first came out. It was my favorite song for maybe about definitely over a year. Gonna give it an A tier. Usher comes in, Gucci Mane comes in. They all understood the assignment. Chris Brown even came in, kind of swaggy in the beginning. I think it should be next to like a Wall to Wall, Kiss Kiss. I would say modern day, but it came out 10 years ago, which is kind of insane. I remember when the music video dropped. I was like one of the first people to see the music video because it came out a couple of hours, or I watched it a couple of hours after it dropped. So I'm not gonna say modern day Wall to Wall, but it kind of has like that swagger, that energy of a Wall to Wall. So basically, what Chris Brown did all the way back then is what he did with Party, in my personal opinion. High energy song, done correctly. Definitely a strong song, memorable beat for sure. Privacy is right there with it. It did borrow off of like the "Hey you girl on a tight top skirt." That comes from some reggae song. I don't remember the name, but definitely not original. But anyways, as for the rest of the song, I think that it's not just like your typical sex song. It kind of has some personality to it. You can kind of dance to it. You know what I mean? And then it's like he drops the singing sort of facade, and then he gets like straight to the point, vulgar with his lyrics. It's not even singing anymore, kind of aggressive a little bit, and I think that communicates the like, okay, like I'm trying to get you, and like now I got you right here where I want you, and we're gonna do the thing, you know what I'm saying? So I think that yeah, there's just a lot of personality with the song. To My Bed, I'm gonna put this in average. Yeah, it's kind of just like a whatever song to me. I think that there's little bits and moments of good singing, but the lyrics are kind of basic. The beat is kind of whatever. Uh, I honestly hear a lot of similarities with Liquor with the beat to My Bed, but yeah, it's basically just Chris Brown saying, "Me and this girl, we're not gonna make it to the bed." Hope You Do is right there with To My Bed. Actually, I don't think that's fair to Hope You Do. I think Hope You Do has a little bit more personality, enough to make it above average, but I don't think it's a terribly strong song either. And yeah, a little bit of good singing mixed in there, here and there. So Hills and Automobiles, same kind of thing. Not a terribly strong song. It was on the radio like a motherfucker when it came out. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think Kodak's part was kind of ass. And then you had A Boogie and Yo Gotti, they understood the assignment. Kodak Black did not. Chris Brown, honestly, his part wasn't anything to write home about either. It was kind of a little bit of auto tune rap, you know, but like a vibey. You know, it's not like there's something there, but it's just not horribly strong. Questions, I'll give this A tier right next to Party and Privacy. It was short but sweet, a little bit of reggae feel interspliced in there with the use of patois. It's not done in like a cheap or cheesy way like you'll hear in some other songs, but I think that it actually blended well with the song a little bit, and it all comes together and creates this really nice vibe of a song. So yeah, definitely A tier. High end, same thing with like Pills and Automobiles. Actually, I'm not gonna say there's a little bit of personality there. It's very much. It has a lot of personality. Just look at the music video. It was like cult themed, but yeah, it kind of sounds like, well, like the theme. The theme of the album. There's so many songs on the album, but Heartbreak on a Full Moon. A lot of these songs are about heartbreak and love, and then you have High End, which is kind of like the other end of the Heartbreak on a Full Moon, sort of like the full moon, kind of like horror, Halloween kind of vibe to it. So definitely a lot of personality. I don't think that Young Thug's part was anything to write home about. Future's part was okay, and then Chris Brown's part was, I think it was the best part of the song, but not by a lot, you know. So, but yeah, definitely a lot of personality there. The beat was really good, kind of reflective of the vibe that they were going for. So yeah, tempo, I'll give it. I'm looking at these other songs. I think it also belongs in B tier, along with like a lot of these other songs that I'm looking at. It's not bad. It is above average. I just don't think that it's that strong. Like the premise of the song was like a tempo switch. I think that the beat kind of signified with that. What he was actually saying was kind of corny at some parts. Don't be scared to show that to me. Let's just lay down and you show it to me. Like, bro. I think he said show it to me like 5 different times, all back to back. You know, if I'm not mistaken. But the singing wasn't anything to write home about, as I keep saying. But yeah, that's tempo for you. Undecided. This is a rendition of I Like Your Smile, so it automatically is going to go down because it's not original. Was it done well? I think it was done okay. There's a lot of auto tune. This is where he kind of relies heavily on auto tune. We hear like less raw singing performances. I don't know. I feel like he could have stuck with the theme a little bit better. The theme is supposed to be he's undecided on whether or not he wants to stick with this one girl or be with a bunch of other girls. But then he's like, I'm taking off your clothes, we're getting sexual, and it's so good, think I propose, I don't know, but I'm undecided. Like, nigga, what? You're undecided after thinking, you're thinking about proposing, but you're still undecided? It's like, I don't know. I think that the lyrics could have been executed a little bit better in terms of fitting the theme of I'm undecided. I think that he should have been more infatuated with a girl instead of being committed, I suppose. But this whatever. Maybe I'm reading too hard into it. But yeah, B tier. And then Back to Love. I'm going to give this definitely a high A tier. I think it's better than most of these songs here. Yeah, okay. I don't want to put it at S tier because the lyrics were kind of okay. You know, it's the lyrics weren't that deep. It's just him talking about his regret in terms of how he mistreated or didn't pay enough attention to his love interest while she was there. The beat is kind of it kind of makes you think about, you know, maybe the past. I don't know. It kind of has that feel to where it makes you think and reflect on certain things, to me at least, and that's literally what he's talking about in the song. So I think that there's some extra points that can be given for that. No guidance. You have to understand what this song means, right? It's not only is it Chris Brown's best song in terms of sales or I don't even think that's true. It's his most streamed song, but you're getting two massive artists who were at odds with each other for years, and you're finally getting that one track that we were missing out on. It's like, imagine if you guys just came together and made music way back when, especially during the height, not even the height of your careers, but when your careers were, when you were building your careers, like the amount of music that we missed out on, and now we're getting basically what we were missing in one track. And it did really, really well. I think the beat switch was pretty good. I think that the tone that Chris Brown went for was kind of a more soulful, but yeah, Playboy kind of feel. Drake doing his excuse me, his singing, and then you have Chris Brown's vocals in the background. I definitely think it's a strong song, definitely worthy of being played on the radio for as long as it was played on the radio. My gosh, this is also another song that should have been a number one hit. Chris Brown literally only has two number one hits. I think Loyal should have been a number one hit. I think No Guidance was also one that should have been number one. And not only in terms of song quality and digestibility to the mainstream, but for as well as it did and for as much as it streamed, I think that it was appreciated but underrated at the same time. It was, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but Wobble Up, this is kind of average. G-Eazy, Nicki Minaj, nothing to write home about. Just a high energy sort of song, I guess, that you would play in the summer, I guess. It sounds like a fucking hot boy, hot girl summer sort of song. Heat wasn't all that good of a song. I think Gunna did a pretty good job. I'm gonna give it points because Gunna was on there. Not that it was bad, but it just was kind of basic. The premise of the song was kind of basic also. So yeah, but I think Gunna comes in and gives it some extra points. I think if this was a solo track, no one would really have given a fuck about the song, truth be told. Sorry Enough. Okay, yeah, this makes sense for S tier. Like, I was saying, like, oh, should this song get S tier? Should this song? Like, yeah, Sorry Enough definitely makes sense to be an S tier. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but I definitely think it's up there. You know what I mean? It's definitely one of his best songs in recent time. This is 2019. So yeah, extremely strong song. The lyrics actually are meaningful. The chemistry between the lyrics and the beat, the instrumental, very good. It paints this picture of regret, remorse, of I want to do better, sort of feel. You know what I mean? And that's very relatable because we all make mistakes, especially with relationships. And I think that song kind of encapsulates that. A lot of these songs are like fuckboy, playboy, especially like in these beginning songs. It's kind of like young love, like I'm starting to chase women. And then Sorry Enough just kind of feels like maturity and the end of that sort of chapter or phase or book even of his life. Because like from up to here, it's like, oh, I'm attracted to girls, like I want to start getting girls, all the way up to like I'm a fuck boy, nobody could fuck with me, I can get any girl I want. And then now it's like an evolution of all of his prior music. So yeah, absolutely S tier. Not quite a masterpiece, but definitely strong S tier. Under the Influence, I'm gonna give this an A tier. I don't think it's quite an S tier. It wouldn't be up here with the likes of Sorry Enough, Back to Sleep, Autumn Leaves, This Christmas. Definitely not, but obviously it's highly digestible. Definitely a standout sex song, kind of the epitome of modern day R&B. Very catchy, something you would play on the radio. It was played heavily on the radio. Then you have Overtime, which I think is a really great song. The lyrics are admirable, I guess, but you kind of don't want to say it like that as a grown man. But yeah, anyways, especially being in a situation like that, it kind of resonates with me. Then at the same time, it's kind of like like, okay, we get it. Like, you like the girl, you're better, she was hurt. It's not anything that's, you know, kind of novel to listeners, I suppose. It's not a concept that's foreign to listeners, but on the other hand, I think that that's kind of what makes it a strong song. Then we have Go Crazy. Okay, it's not unoriginal, it does use the juvenile beat. Yeah, I'll put it A tier. It's not unoriginal. I think Young Thug and Chris Brown's chemistry was pretty good in this song. Definitely a bop. I heard it in a club in Aruba, like a couple years back. Like that's how vibey the song was. But yeah, again, I wouldn't put it up with like S tier, but it's definitely above anything that's in B tier. City Girls. All right, I'm gonna give this a high A tier. When we rank the ranks, we're gonna do that shit tomorrow. I know the theme was 1930s ish, but that was only for the music video. I don't think the actual song feels old fashioned. I think it kind of blends like a classy sort of feel to R&B with sort of a premise that's really contemporary. Like we're talking about city girls, like we're literally talking about city girls. And then there's some really good background vocals in this song. When it all comes together, the beat, the singing, the feature, the vocals in the background. I think it just all comes together to make a pretty strong song. Fun fact, I thought it was very generic and formulaic when I first heard it, and I was like, it sounds like a regular Chris Brown song, because it was one of the few songs that was available in like early release. Like there's a SoundCloud link that people had access to, which allowed you to listen to a couple of the songs on Slime and B. Yeah, City Girls was one of them, and I was like, it's alright. And then I think like a year and a half later, I got more into it, and I was like, okay, yeah, like I hear it, like this shit's fire. Say You Love Me is gonna be our first F tier for Chris Brown's song. Very garbage. I mean, like, first of all, Young Thug, he sounded like he was on drugs. We're saying absolutely nothing. The beat is weird. There's no synergy between the beat and the lyrics at all. The singing wasn't great either. And I don't even know what they were talking about. I was like, say you love me, say it twice. Is that what they said? Say you're my bitch. Like, you can call my shots. Like, what are we talking about, bro? I think that Chris Brown's part had a little bit of depth to it in terms of his singing when he came in. But that's, like, when the song is almost over. And it's like, bro, what am I subjecting myself to? You don't want to have to listen to all of that song before you get to Chris Brown's part, which is only slightly redeemable. So, yeah, that's going to be our first F tier that we have here. Iffy, I don't know if you can see it, but I have the cover art to Iffy on my wall there. I have a lot of these songs on here too, but this is 2 songs removed from being my favorite song. So after, like when it first came out, it was my favorite song all the way up until like 2024. So definitely a vibey song, and I'm definitely going to be a little bit of bias here. But at the end of the day, there's nothing really special about Iffy aside from the fact that it's like a little bit of a head bob. The beat is unique, definitely has some personality to it, so I'll give it a low B tier. It's just like, if you like it, you'll like it, but I don't think anybody in their right mind would say that Iffy is a terribly strong song. I mean, the whole thing was carried by the music video, which was basically just like a modern day version of I Can Transform You. So yeah, that's Iffy. Warm Embrace, this is going to go into S tier again. Very good singing. Lyrics were good. The vibe of the song was good. Very synergistic with the instrumental, which was nice and slow, soulful. Yeah, it's a pretty strong song all around. Obviously not my personal favorite, but you can't deny the quality of that song. Wheels Fall Off is going to be our second F tier song. I think that Chris Brown's part, thankfully, it comes in first. It was the first song on the Breezy album, so it was everybody's first impression of the song, and I don't think that it was a good first impression. I think DJ Academics, literally, not that I value his opinion very much anyways, but I think he made a good point. He was like, we don't want this like gangster Chris Brown, like you're supposed to be the next Michael Jackson. Like, we don't want to hear about you having to spin blocks or whatever. Not that he was saying that, but it was kind of, dancing around the edge of street life, thug life, and whatnot. Yeah, and then Lil Durk and Capella Gray sounded absolutely awful on this song. I expected more from Lil Durk, not really Capella Gray. Even though before that they did the it's just a vibe on that guy. They did a song together that was a good song. But Wheels Fall Off was not, and I can't say I expected that much from Capella Gray because I'm like, okay, I can see Chris Brown on a Capella Gray song. I can't really see Capella Gray on a Chris Brown song. And then Lil Durk was, yeah, he did not understand the assignment. Call Me Every Day. I mean, I think I'm gonna piss a lot of people off, but I think it's just okay. I would give it low B tier, or maybe mid B tier. First of all, I don't really understand what's being said by WizKid, which okay, understandable, but music is a universal language, sure. So I don't know. Maybe it's really good, but it's just like a sort of like an African vibe, I suppose, with Chris Brown putting on an accent. If you were given Ox, would you turn this song on? Like this sounds like to me, it kind of sounds like a song you would listen to or you start playing when you were like on your way home after a late night of being out or whatever the fuck. Catch a Body. Okay, this song is definitely a vibe. Definitely gave me a lot of good memories, but I can't really put it anywhere higher than B tier. I think the hook was pretty decent. The background vocals, it's a vibe. It's a vibe song. But the problem with like vibey songs is that it might catch somebody's vibe over here, and then somebody else might be like, turn this shit off. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's very digestible to, a wide variety of people. I definitely wouldn't play this in the car expecting people to bob their heads to it. But that's just me personally. I vibe with the song, but don't think it's very. I don't think it's stand out enough for like a wide variety of people to listen to. But I could be wrong. We have talking about what's keeping this out of what out of F tier is that it has a little bit of personality, and then the beat switch up towards the end. I think was really cool. But talking about, like, bro, what were you talking about? What were you talking about in this song? Like, Chris Brown was not talking about anything in this song. The hook kind of sounded silly. Like, any bitches on me? What you talking about? And I hit my homies. And I get on the clout. And then the beat tried to mimic the tones in which he was speaking or singing, I guess, or vice versa. It was just really bizarre, but because of the beat switch up and because of the little bit of personality, I'm not going to put it at F tier, but I am going to put it at D tier. HM, so this is before Freaky Shit. This was my favorite song. I'm trying to take my personal bias out of it. Honestly, I think ESTG did a really good job. He understood the assignment. The vocals, like I think that was also really stand out. A little bit of auto-tune, but I think this song has a lot of personality. I'm trying to think I know what made it my favorite song. Sort of a lot going on in the song. I think the beat is kind of inoffensive. It's not anything crazy, but I think that it's really catchy. And yeah, I'm gonna give it the same treatment as Catch a Body. It's a quality song. I don't think it's a super strong song. But yeah, Harder on the other hand, this is gonna be another S tier song. Singing, there was a bit of auto-tune, but the singing was immaculate. First off, the build-up towards the last hook, and then the tone switch was chef's kiss, bro. Like, oh my gosh. One of Chris Brown's best singing performances in recent memory. So yeah, definitely gonna put it at S tier. Psychic, I think Jack Harlow did an okay job. I don't think he did like a great job. I'm gonna put it B tier. I think Chris Brown definitely had the better performance overall with the song. Catchy, vibey, but it's kind of just inoffensive. It's not really that bold. Kind of formulaic a little bit. I wouldn't be mad if somebody put it in A tier. I'd be like, okay, I see where you're coming from, but for me personally, I think it's gonna be a B tier. Summer Too Hot. This is gonna be a C tier for me. Very formulaic. Yeah, there's nothing really stand out about this song. I think that, you know, people people are free to like different hooks. It has a likable hook, but I don't know. The beat wasn't stand out, lyrics wasn't stand out, singing performance wasn't great. I mean, like, so we'll take Nightmares for instance. Nightmares, the singing performance was a little bit better, but um, again, I think the patois usage. I don't think it was bad actually. I think that sometimes it's corny, but I think it was all right here. I'll give it a low B tier. Again, it's a short but sweet song. Not a lot of depth to it. Uh, Not a lot of meaning behind it either. So I'll put it at low B tier. I can't say it's average because of the patois. It's unique enough to be put slightly above C tier. But then I'm looking at it and I'm like, is it above Deuces? Is Nightmares above Deuces? Okay, I'm gonna put this in C tier because that doesn't feel right to me. Sensational. I'm gonna put this A tier. I think that the African accent, especially with Davido, and then there's somebody else but I don't remember the name of the artist. I think that they all kind of understood the assignment and made a pretty enjoyable to listen to song. So yeah, definitely A tier. I heard it on the radio, so obviously digestible to a wide variety of people. But I'm gonna put it low A tier. I don't think it's. I think City Girls is actually a better song. I think most of the songs in A tier is better. But Angel Numbers, Ten Toes. For me, okay, a lot of people are gonna get mad. For me, this wasn't, you know, that great of a song. I feel like it was kind of fake deep, which me saying that is gonna piss a lot of people off. But bro, I've never heard about Chris Brown talk about anxiety before. Like never. Um and you can say growth maybe, but I don't think he's kept up with this at all since he's released this track. Then Angel Numbers just lasts for like 2 seconds also. Then you just get to 10 Toes, which like usually a beat switch up is kind of, you know, like whoa, like you listen to Sicko Mode and it's like whoa, like that's hard. But I think this just sounds like two different songs, like one like third of an unreleased song that we'll never know the full version of, combined with a song that is kind of fake deep. So I think B tier suffices with me. Go Girlfriend. Uh, I think it has the same problem as Tell 'em About, to where it's really basic, really generic. The singing isn't really good at all. But then you have the beat switch up at the end, which gives it a little bit of life, a little bit of personality. Press Me, on the other hand, is gonna go into A tier. Very catchy song. The hook is extremely standout. I think it's kind of like a short but sweet song. Definitely a digestible song to a lot of people. And yeah, I think it's unique enough. It's not high energy, but it's definitely like a upbeat sort of song. And I think that when you first play it, the beat is distinct enough to where when you first play it, people will be like, "Ah, yeah, I see what you're doing. That we got that song playing." But yeah, Feel Something. Do I put it in C tier? I mean, okay, the lyrics weren't really about anything. The hook was okay. Uh, but I think there's enough to this song to where it's okay with being in C tier and not necessarily D tier. Uh, hmm. HMMM. This was the Davido. Yeah, I'll give it B tier. I wouldn't be mad at somebody putting it in A tier, but I don't think it's. I think Strip is a better song. I mean, you could argue anyways, potentially, but I do think it's a better song than like Whippin', Substance. And you have Residuals. I'm going to put this in A tier. I don't think it's quite deep enough to be in S tier. Which I'm sure I think everybody can agree that Residuals isn't a masterpiece. I think most people would have it either S tier or A tier. I don't think it doesn't go on long enough to be an S tier in terms of it kind of sounds the same all throughout. You know, like if there was some more depth to the song, and I didn't mean to say that it's not deep enough. The lyrics are kind of deep, but the song in itself doesn't really have that much depth. It's just, you know, like kind of straight to the point, highly digestible, because its theming is very relatable to a lot of people. So yeah, I think it's a good A tier, like a middle of the road A tier song. I think like Residuals next to Party makes sense. Residuals next to No Guidance, Questions. I think that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Stutter, B tier. I think that yeah, it has a little bit more personality than anything in C tier, with the hook. But again, not a terribly strong song in my personal opinion. Freak has to be F tier because okay, well, I like the Chris Brown diss. I think that Chris Brown did a pretty good job. I think Jordan Lucas was okay. Uh, and then you have Lil Wayne. Now Lil Wayne, Chris Brown is my favorite like R&B artist. Lil Wayne is my favorite rapper. But he makes me so mad sometimes. That whole Carter 7 shit. His verse here sounds like something out of the Carter, not Carter 7. I saw a post saying that he wanted to make Carter 7. I meant Carter 6. This verse sounds like something straight out of Carter 6. Like, Lil Wayne, what the fuck are we doing? Then T Grizzly was just a little bit too vulgar. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's the point of the song, but there was nothing really clever about what he was saying. Weakest Link. Okay, for a song, I'm gonna put it B tier. For a diss track, I'm gonna put it S tier. Oh my gosh. So B tier because we're talking about the song. This was brutal, bro. Like, bruh, this was like the response of responses. It was like because I think this came out right before Drake and Kendrick began their rap battle, and then everybody was like, "Oh, it took Chris Brown to diss for everybody to like start making their diss tracks on each other." It was just funny, like just a savage, ridiculous diss track. Midnight Freak is going to be another S tier. I think this is one of his best songs in recent memory because we're now talking about 2024. Or was this on the extended version? Or I think this was on the extended version. So 2024. This album came out in 2023, but the extended version, which I believe had Midnight Freak in it, was 2024. I could be wrong, but definitely a very strong song, unique, experimental, but it definitely worked. Gives you sort of old school R&B kind of feel, but a little bit more upbeat. Uh, and yeah, I think the production was really good. I think the singing was, a little bit above average. But yeah, I think how the song was structured made it so that had a very enjoyable listening experience. Midnight Freak is definitely up there. Now we're at Brown, his most recent album. This is It Depends. Okay, It Depends is an average song. A lot of people, I would put it high average, kind of like Deuces, high C tier, but there's no getting past it. It's an average song. First of all, it's not an iteration, but it uses Nice and Slow by Usher. So there is an element of unoriginality to it, but the lyrics were so dumb in certain points. Like Fantano, which he has very controversial opinions, but I value his opinion when looking at sort of things of this nature because he's an actual, he's someone with a music background. He's actually qualified to speak on the shit that he speaks on. Iceman 2 out of 10 was kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie, though. But anyways, he said that this song, the lyrics to this song sounds like somebody who has like an AI girlfriend. like beat that shit out of the box again. Can we keep this anonymous? You want to be monogamous? Like, yeah, like the lyrics were corny in some parts. Great. The singing wasn't that great. It's just the beat and the hook which really carry the song. And don't get me wrong, I like the song, but just in terms of a body of music, it's not strong at all. So yeah, I think it's gonna be average. Same thing with what the hell? Same thing with Holy Blindfolds. Not really my song. I don't really think he does too much. It's just like a little bit of uh, sing songy. Like he's not really singing. It's like sing songy talking, right? And then you have the do 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 do. Like I don't know. That just doesn't really resonate that much with me. Uh, Honestly, this album, this was a pretty bad album. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, as a Chris Brown fan, like I know he made that like funny post, like I don't give a fuck what these niggas talking about. Like that was the right response because you and I both know that there is an element of truth to the criticism. This was not a strong album at all. Next to Graffiti, this was probably Chris Brown's worst album. Um, and I only chose 5 songs because yeah, yeah. Let's just keep it like that. Obvious. This is also going in average. I like obvious a little bit, but lyrics are kind of forgettable, kind of vibey. But I think that's highly subjective. When you say something's vibey, I don't think that gives it credence to the quality of the song. And the fact that I don't remember much of the lyrics, it's pretty average to me. Like I would you put obvious next to even tempo, undecided, catch a body? I wouldn't. Me personally. Don't judge me, sweet love. I think that all those songs are a step above obvious. Fallen. Okay. Out of all the songs on this pretty bad album, this is actually gonna go in S tier, and it's gonna be our last S tier of the night. And yeah, Fallen. Really, the only reason why it isn't a masterpiece is because the vocals are highly processed. Like you can tell, it's not like auto tuney. It's not unnatural, but it's not 100% just raw voice like in Superhuman. But other than that, I think the song, the what we do here, the singing performance is very good. The vibe of the song, old fashioned, like unlike City Girls, I think that this captures the feel, the old fashioned 1930s or whatever the time period would be. Yeah, just like the old fashioned kind of singing, like the blues. I think they did a very, very excellent job. The guitar solo, Chef's Kiss, once again. Very, very strong. Definitely my favorite song out of the album because, I mean, like, what the fuck else is there to pick from? Speaking of which, for the moment, is going to be our last pick of the night, and that's going straight into F tier. I don't know why, of all the songs you could have done on the album, because usually you know how artists will create a music video on the day that their album drops. For instance, Catch a Body was the music video that Chris Brown dropped on the day Breezy dropped, and it's like, okay, I can see that. For the moment, you know, he had like clown makeup on, and I'm like, yeah, that's what you were looking like in the studio, bro. Like, this is just a very weird song. The beat is kind of like ass, and it just sounds all over the place. Also, like, I don't know, there's just like no redeeming qualities for me. I mean, there's like a tiny smidge of something in the hook, but I don't know, man. This just wasn't it. Probably between this and Say You Love Me is definitely two of the worst Chris Brown songs. Definitely out of this entire list. But yeah, all right. So tomorrow we're going to, because it's past midnight. But tomorrow we're definitely going to rank these among each other, and so I'll see you guys then.
Pinky ring, we're about to 50. Two-tone my Lambo, that's drippy. cause it hit me. The best thing gon' slide now.